The Niners are entering one of those moments where the entire direction of the team can change fast. And what happened over the last few hours honestly says a lot about where this franchise is heading right now. On one side, we just got our first real look at the new rookie class. The energy, the physicality, the players that could end up becoming massive pieces for this team sooner than people expected. But at the exact same time, there's another situation developing around this roster that could completely shake up the offense before the season even starts. And what's crazy is, these two stories actually connect more than people realize. Because while some young guys are suddenly pushing for bigger roles, there's also growing talk that one huge name in this locker room may not even be part of the future much longer. And if that happens, it changes everything about how this offense looks going into next season. As fans, we've seen this team make aggressive moves before. We've seen surprises, we've seen veterans leave earlier than expected. But this situation feels different because you can kind of feel the organization preparing for something behind the scenes. And honestly, after hearing everything coming out of rookie minicamp and then seeing the trade rumors explode right after, I think every Niners fan should be paying attention right now. Before we get into all of it, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're a real faithful. The channel is still new, and I want to build this with real 49ers fans who truly believe this team is getting back to the Super Bowl next season. Alright, so let's start with what came out of rookie minicamp because, honestly, there were a lot more important details there than people expected. The first big takeaway was Dejon Stribling. And I gotta say, physically, this dude already looks like an NFL player. Big frame, legit speed, explosive movement. You can immediately see why the 49ers brought him in out of Ole Miss. A lot of people inside minicamp were comparing the vibe around him to what we saw with Jordan Watkins last year, especially because both guys came from Ole Miss and both have that crazy 4.3 speed. But here's the reality with Kyle Shanahan, and every Niners fan already knows this. Shanahan usually does not trust rookie wide receivers right away unless he absolutely has to. That's just how he operates. And when you look at the current depth chart, Dejon Stribling already has serious competition ahead of him with Mike Evans, Ricky Pearsall, and Christian Kirk, all expected to have major roles in the offense. So unless injuries happen, it might be hard for Stribling to immediately crack the offensive rotation consistently, but that doesn't mean he won't play. What stood out during minicamp was the fact that the 49ers immediately started using him on special teams, especially as a potential gunner on punt coverage. And honestly, he has the perfect body type for that role. Long, fast, physical, aggressive. That's usually how young players earn Kyle Shanahan's trust early anyway. If he becomes a lead on special teams first, that opens the door for offensive snaps later. And if we're being real here, with how crowded this receiver room suddenly looks, special teams may end up being the fastest path for him to stay active on game days. Then there's Romello Height. And this one was really interesting because it tells us something important about the direction of the defense. Coming out of Texas Tech, Height mostly played outside linebacker. He's only around 239 pounds, and a lot of people wondered if the 49ers might use him standing up in a different defensive structure. But during minicamp, that's not what happened. He was wearing number 94, working directly with the defensive ends, rushing with his hand in the dirt instead of standing up. And apparently he even looked like a slimmer version of D Ford out there. Fast first step, bend around the edge, pure pass rush style. That's important because it strongly suggests the 49ers are sticking with the traditional 4-3 wide 9 defensive front instead of transitioning into more of a 3-4 system like Raheem Morris used with the Atlanta Falcons and Los Angeles Rams. So right now, it feels like Romello Height is being developed strictly as a situational pass rusher, not a full-time starter yet. More of a rotational weapon that can attack quarterbacks in obvious passing situations. And honestly, that role could matter a lot for this team because the Niners desperately need more pass rush depth after everything that happened to this defensive line over the past couple seasons. Now another rookie that really caught attention was Kalen Black, and this one honestly got me excited. Because people are already talking about him looking physically ready to contribute immediately. Not next year, not 2 years from now. Right now. Kalen Black turns 25 in October, so unlike some younger rookies, this isn't some developmental project. He already has a grown man body. Reports from minicamp described him as way more physically developed than Jordan James looked when he entered the league last year. Strong lower body, powerful frame, built for contact. And the role for him is honestly pretty obvious. The 49ers do not want Christian McCaffrey taking constant punishment between the tackles anymore. They need someone who can handle the dirty carries, the physical short yardage runs, the inside work that wears defenses down. That's where Kalen Black comes in. People inside the building already think he could become the number 2 running back behind McCaffrey almost immediately if he stays healthy. And stylistically, they're comparing him to Elijah Mitchell because of how physical and decisive he runs. And if that actually happens, that could quietly become one of the smartest moves this front office made all offseason, because keeping McCaffrey healthy is absolutely one of the biggest priorities for this team heading into the year. Then we got another huge detail from minicamp. Carver Willis. And honestly, this might end up being one of the sneakiest important roster battles of the entire offseason. Willis played left tackle for 6 years in college, and apparently you can immediately see that athleticism when he moves. Even though the 49ers are transitioning him inside to left guard because of shorter arms, reports said he already looks incredibly natural there. What's funny is he's even wearing number 74, Joe Staley's old number, and some people said his movement style actually reminded them a little bit of Staley too. Obviously, nobody's saying he is Joe Staley, but hearing those comparisons at least tells you the athletic profile jumps out immediately, and here's where things get serious. There's already growing belief that Carver Willis could actually challenge Connor Colby for the starting left guard job this season. That's massive. Because offensive line consistency has been one of the biggest concerns for this team around Brock Purdy. If Willis develops quickly and locks down that spot, that changes a lot for this offense moving forward. And finally, Curtis Rourke. This one may surprise a lot of fans. Apparently, Rourke looked extremely comfortable operating the offense during rookie minicamp. Bigger frame than Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, good pocket movement, quick decision-making, accurate throws, anticipation, all the little details coaches love to see. Now, to be fair, he does have an advantage because he's technically a redshirt rookie after being drafted last year and spending time learning the system already, so he wasn't walking into this completely blind like some of the other rookies. But still, reports made it sound like he looked completely in control out there. And honestly, if he keeps stacking strong performances during OTAs and training camp, the 49ers may have no choice but to keep him on the 53-man roster. Which says a lot about how seriously this team may be thinking about quarterback depth behind Brock Purdy. But here's where things suddenly get even more interesting for the future of this offense, because while these rookies were trying to earn their place on the roster, another massive conversation started heating up around Brandon Aiyuk. And if the rumors are true, the 49ers could be preparing for one of the biggest moves of the entire offseason. Now, this is where things start getting really complicated for the 49ers because the Brandon Aiyuk situation suddenly feels a lot more real than just another offseason rumor. According to the reports coming out right now, John Lynch is actually open to discussions involving Brandon Aiyuk. And honestly, hearing Lynch describe a possible trade as a prudent thing to do immediately caught everybody's attention because that's not the kind of wording you use if there's zero chance of something happening. At the same time, Lynch also made it clear how much respect the organization still has for Aiyuk. He called him an extremely talented player and one of the league's most effective receivers. So this doesn't sound like the Niners questioning his talent at all. This sounds more like a front office trying to figure out whether the relationship still makes sense moving forward, and that's where things get uncomfortable, because Lynch basically admitted that the contract situation and communication problems that reportedly happened in 2025 created issues internally. He even said the situation didn't work out here, while also suggesting things could maybe work better somewhere else. That's a pretty strong statement. Especially when you remember how badly things got dragged out during contract negotiations before Brandon Aiyuk signed that massive 4-year, $120 million contract back in 2024. That deal included a $23 million signing bonus, $76 million guaranteed, and an average annual salary of $30 million per season. And financially, this thing is still complicated. For 2026 alone, Aiyuk is expected to earn $1.2 million in base salary, another $24 million through his signing bonus structure, plus a $100,000 workout bonus. Meanwhile, the contract would still carry around a $13 million cap hit and approximately $33 million in dead cap for the 49ers. So this isn't some easy move. Trading him would have major financial consequences. But keeping him while the relationship feels unstable also creates risk. And that's exactly why analysts are starting to compare this situation to what happened with Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. Back in 2022, the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson, and Baker Mayfield's future immediately became awkward. The Browns waited too long to fully resolve the situation. Baker eventually requested a trade, got shipped to the Carolina Panthers late in the offseason, struggled badly because the timing ruined his preparation, and only later rebuilt his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now analysts are warning that the 49ers should avoid putting Brandon Aiyuk through a similar situation by making a clean decision sooner rather than later, instead of dragging this story deep into training camp. And honestly, I understand the concern. Because distractions like this can absolutely affect a locker room, especially when you're talking about one of the biggest names on the offense. Now, when it comes to possible destinations, the Washington Commanders are the team everybody keeps watching. And there are actually multiple reasons why that connection makes sense. First, Jaden Daniels reportedly supports the idea of bringing Brandon Aiyuk to Washington. The two were teammates together at Arizona State back in 2019, so there's already chemistry and familiarity there. Second, Washington is aggressively trying to build around Jaden Daniels right now, and adding a receiver like Aiyuk would instantly elevate that offense. But here's the other part that really matters. The 49ers suddenly have a crowded receiver room. You already have Mike Evans. You drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round. Jordan Watkins is still developing. Christian Kirk is there. And now you add Dejon Stribling into the mix after rookie minicamp. So when you step back and look at the full picture, you can at least understand why people around the league believe San Francisco may eventually decide that moving Aiyuk is the smarter long-term decision financially and structurally. Now, interestingly, some analysts also mentioned that if Washington misses on Aiyuk, they could explore other options from San Francisco instead, including Deebo Samuel Sr. or Jawan Jennings. And honestly, that just shows how much respect the league still has for the weapons on this roster. The other teams reportedly connected to Brandon Aiyuk are the Los Angeles Chargers and the Indianapolis Colts. Both teams could definitely use another high-level receiver, especially one who can create separation the way Aiyuk does. But if we're being real as Niners fans, this whole situation creates mixed emotions. Because on one hand, Brandon Aiyuk is still one of the best route runners in football when he's fully healthy and locked in. Losing that kind of talent is not easy. You do not casually replace players like him. But on the other hand, you can also see why the organization might be preparing for the future already. The rookie minicamp gave us a glimpse of younger, cheaper players fighting for roles. Meanwhile, this Aiyuk situation feels like the harsh business side of the NFL hitting the team all at once. And honestly, when you combine both stories together, it feels like the 49ers are entering a transition phase where they're trying to stay in Super Bowl contention while also quietly reshaping the roster for the future. Some moves are about winning now, some moves are about surviving long-term, and right now it feels like the Niners are trying to balance both at the exact same time. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments what you would do with Brandon Aiyuk. Would you keep him, or would you trade him now before this situation gets even more complicated? And if you're a real faithful, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. The 49ers Nation Report is still growing, and I want to build this community with fans who truly believe this team can get back to the Super Bowl next season.